Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, and she's back,
hey,
Dr. Angie. Actually, we didn't even go anywhere. We're just recording videos back to back. Make it easier.
We moved to the other table.
Yeah, we moved over a little bit. All right, so previously we were just talking about being a digital nomad, different ways that you can change your life, self-awareness, and different transitional things about yourself and people. But in this video, we're going to focus on travel,
yes,
which is what this channel is all about. So tell me, how did you start traveling international?
The first trip I took was my auntie for college graduation. We went to Jamaica.
So late, you started traveling a little bit late.
Yeah, very late. Yeah.
Now, why do you think you started traveling late?
Cause going to the South was enough for us. It was, even though my family, had roots. My aunt was born in Germany. My family had lived overseas, and they've been to Paris. They had done all of that. But for us, we traveled so much between California, New York, Florida, Ohio. Like our family is so spread out.
So a lot of domestic travel.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about domestic travel versus international travel now that you've been out here a little while?
I actually have a greater appreciation for it. I have an appreciation for the United States in the many aspects of culture that it has. I think that we don't do a great job of celebrating difference.
I totally agree.
And it's like when you really look at it as the pockets, and it's not one America. It's not just one big state. It is multiple states, and we need to respect it as such and celebrate the uniqueness so you can really
I think we have the best travel country in the planet.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. As a single place, it is the best travel destination in the world. So we were speaking in the previous video about your time in Europe and Prague. Yes. Where else did you visit in Europe?
I feel like this is gonna make me look bad. I forget sometimes. Okay, so obviously, I should say obviously. That is so elitist. Okay, it's so funny when she starts. It's like, of course I went to, and I'm so not that person. We went to Paris, Amsterdam. What is it? Austria. Vienna, Austria. Belgium, the best waffles on earth. Where else have I gone? I'm gonna think of some place because we took so many weekend trips.
Oh, so these were all weekend trips from Prague.
Oh, Budapest.
I love Budapest.
Yeah. So
were these from Prague? You went on weekend trips from Prague.
Yes.
So your time in My Wander Year. In the last video, we discussed her time with the My Wander Year program, which is African American version of the Remote Year. They're the same program, basically.
They wouldn't like that term.
Of course they wouldn't, but they are what they are. So what? So you'll go from. So would you guys take flights over? Take the trains?
Mostly flights. Vienna was, I think, the only time I took a train.
That's an easy train. That's a really easy train.
Somewhere else on the train too, though.
Yeah. And how about Southeast Asia? Where have you traveled here?
Just Chiang Mai and here. Bangkok.
Okay. So, do you have any plans to go back to Europe?
And Kuala Lumpur, I went to Malaysia.
Yeah.
Twice.
Oh yeah, you were just there.
That is so bad. My brain is like, I just went to Malaysia.
So do you have any plans to make your way back to Europe?
To Europe? Yeah, I didn't get a chance to go to Barcelona. I've always wanted to go to the Italian job. Made me want to go to Italy. And so I want to go there.
I go to Italy so often.
And I haven't been yet. And it's crazy because you look back and, you have Ryanair and all those little cheap airlines. Right, so you can go get a flight for like $11. So
you're on a high. That's high. This could I'm leaving in 2 weeks for Europe. And I want to say like 3 of my flights were like £6. Like 5-6 pounds. Like I'm flying from, where am I flying? I am flying from Berlin to southern Poland. It was $5 US dollars. Like nothing. And I gotta pay. The bag is €17. The bag that I'm carrying. I travel with about 15 kilo. But
you just made me think of something real quick.
What?
So we were just talking about people traveling amongst the U.S. You can't go between states.
Oh my God! It's hell no.
So I guess so we have to be a little bit more gentler with ourselves.
Yeah.
Because I used to see people from other countries and they'd be like, "Oh, I'm going here for the week and I'm doing this," and I was so envious of that.
Yeah, and it is something to be envious of.
You're not paying that much for a flight.
It is probably one of the biggest drawbacks of growing up in the United States is it's ridiculous how much it costs to go from one state to the next.
It's crazy.
Like in Europe, you can get, man, if you're spending $50 on a flight, you're overpaying.
Oh, I remember paying
you can get
so much.
Anywhere.
I paid more to check in to I was so pissed to check into the airport because I didn't do it online or whatever, and then I paid for the flight.
Yeah,
it was
like I just told you, my bag costs more than my flight. Like it is so common, and not to mention, I did a campaign last year. Actually, I've done this campaign twice with URail, where you get a URail pass and you just travel around Europe. Nice. It is the best way to see Europe.
And like the AirAsia pass. Next time I come, I want to get that.
Yeah, don't get it.
Okay.
Don't get it. My recommendation is in Southeast Asia and even Europe, stay away from those passes. Okay. Because there are so many different airlines that all always have deals and sales, especially like AirAsia, Thailand, Bangkok Air. It's just not worth it.
See, this is one of those things where it's a benefit and a disadvantage. I follow directions very well. Yeah. So just you making that statement to me is okay. But then sometimes as a traveler, I have listened to people and gotten wrong information and then had to pay for it later. So,
see, I'm one of those, like for that, it's one of those. See, the thing about airlines, especially in this region, it's just so damn cheap. Yeah. That like now, if they offer something like that in the U.S., like a fixed fee, constant travel pass or something like that, I'll gobble it up in a heartbeat. But in Europe and Asia, it's just too many options. Yeah. So, so as a woman of color, and I've asked this question of every woman of color on here, what have you found to be the biggest advantages of traveling as a black woman and the biggest disadvantages of traveling as a black woman?
Advantages, getting to experience privilege, and walking down the street as a woman in what could be a turbulent environment, and I have no clue. I'm just walking down the street to go where I got to go. So I'm, what would be, and this is a very stereotypical thought of Becky and her little dog Toto going down the street in the hood because they just got them a nice brownstone real cheap because of gentrification, and we look at them like, do you know where you at? So I'm sure that in some of the places, like even here in Bangkok, when I was originally here, I was staying on Sukhumvit 33, but because of the time difference, I had to go out late to go look for food and fish for it, and I'm passing by strip clubs, hookers, prostitution, I mean, all kind of stuff. But I'm like, whatever, whoop-de-doo, I'm going to do what I got to do. So it was the privilege of freedom. And
or the privilege of ignorance.
Of ignorance.
You don't know any better.
There we go. There we go. But it felt like my ignorance gave me freedom not to think about it. And I've always been curious of what that looks like when I tried to transfer it back home. But that's a whole other conversation. But disadvantages, definitely dating. It's just not a lot of brothers out here. It's just a reality that had the same mindset.
Well, do you only date brothers?
Yeah.
Why? You ain't gonna answer that. I'm just fucking with you.
I don't care. I mean,
no.
It's my preference. Yeah. Oh, I did go out on a meeting with a extremely beautiful being. He was amazing in Amsterdam. And actually, we did a video on Facebook, and so he was pretty cool. Still keep in touch to this day. Shout out to Bora. He's amazing. And he was probably somebody who I could see myself. He was the first inkling of, but he wasn't a true version of European white. Right. That is very hard for me. Like even just being, I had to learn to strip and shed some of my views of
preconceived notions of what.
Oh my God! Like one of my closest friends that I had while in Chiang Mai was a white male named Mark, and and it was just like, whoa, wait a minute, I actually like you, like you're really my friend. And people were like, oh, it must be romantic. It was like, no, getting to experience intimacy in a way that I never would have done in the States. I guess that's an advantage as well, is I got the opportunity to connect with other cultures that I would have never done in the States.
I think that's I like that you said that, because it's something that I haven't spoken about too much on this channel yet, that a lot of times we're brought up with this prejudice already, and historically is from necessity.
It's warranted.
And I've gotten into a lot of heated conversations about the idea: are black people racist, or can black people be racist? No. See, I disagree with that point. But it's an internal conversation, an argument that we've had within our community for decades now.
Yes.
But when it comes to, something that is can't really be debated is that when you expose people to other cultures or identities, you develop empathy, and you can better understand where somebody else is coming from, or what their trials and tribulations are. For example, as a male, I would never know, as a black man, I would never know your full experience as a black woman.
You can ask me though.
I can ask you. But if I never take the time to ask you, I would never know. You know?
And it's like, why do I have to always be the person seeking somebody else's other experience and learning about them when somebody gonna take the time to experience me? So I battled really hard with that. And in Chiang Mai, I had the opportunity to go to a retreat, and I was the only black person there. And I used to talk about those people like, would you want to be the only black person in the room with all of those white people? And I did it professionally because I didn't have a choice. But why would you intentionally make that kind of decision? And I did a video like, oh Lord, we're going on the boat, and I was joking about it, but there was some truth in it. Like, I don't know these white folk, I don't know what's going to happen. And it was so amazing. I mean, beautiful relationships and friendships were built. I got a chance to really experience and to develop and nurture some trusting relationships that I'm sure will actually last a lifetime.
So, that goes into the whole white people shit narrative conversation that we get stuck in so often. Have you found that you brought in your horizons in terms of your perception of what some people would call white people shit, or
what do you mean? What is that?
For example, like horseback riding, skiing, skydiving is white people shit.
It's funny. I was just talking about the retreat I was on. They were cracking up. Like, they would just go diving in the water, and I'm like, do y'all see that water? Like, there is no way on God's green earth that I'm finna put my body in there. And then I'm like, and I'm so bougie. So I'm the one, everybody else got their backpacks. I'm coming with my carry-on, getting on the boat. Like, and it's like, shit, we are sleeping on outdoors, and you got a carry-on, like you get on the plane. And they were like, oh, I need, like, forget taking a shower, just jump into the water and it's gonna cleanse us. What the hell if you don't get some soap and water and a rag? And so I was like, excuse me, where is the shower? Where is the this? And he was like, actually, we just put that there because most people who come there, they would just jump in the water. And hell no, I'm not doing that. No.
So.
And I ain't messing up my hair. I just twisted my hair. So that's the black woman.
We were supposed to do this video like 4 days ago. She's like, nah, not today. I got to twist my hair before we do this video.
Be serious.
All right. So when it comes to, as we discussed dating, we've discussed white people. When you travel,
yes.
We've had this narrative about cultural appropriation within African American culture, Indian American culture. As a traveler, what are your views on cultural appropriation, such as going to the Holi Festival in India or participating in Songkran here in Thailand? Like, what are your views? Have you participated in any of these cultural events, or and how was that experience?
Two things. I am an observer and I'm a student, and I'm very conscious of that I'm in your space, and I will at least honor the boundaries that you've set for me. And if you invite me in, then I'm good with that. And I think that's important that we respect that and give them their space so that they can rule as they see fit. And with that said, I have always been welcome. So I'm grateful for that. And I think we were here during a beautiful time to be able to watch a nation or a country grieve their king. And so going out and seeing the imagery and the songs, and I mean literally our father, I mean it was a true passion and energy for leadership that I had not seen. And because obviously leadership is, my work that I do and believe in, I wanted to see what was it about him that made these people just so devoted to him in his life. And it wasn't, people say they ain't have no option. Yes, there's plenty of people, they have an option. And so that was one thing. And then the Lantern Festival. So participating in that in Chiang Mai and the release, I participated, but I also made my own rules. And so, some people are like, you let go of what you want. For me, the way I did it was I released into the universe and I spoke my intention. So So, but I still did it and participated, but I just kind of switched it up a little bit and remixed it for what I wanted it to be. So, because I believe in rituals, and a lot of those things are still tied to, in some way, African traditions and different things of the nature. So I kind of can spiritually connect with it, even if I don't culturally connect to it.
Okay. So moving forward, we are both kind of in the process of leaving. Like I think you leave in a week, I leave in 2 weeks. But so what's next for you as far as travel goes?
I don't know.
Really?
I'm one of those. I'm a certified leaper, so I make decisions as the spirit moves. And so one of the things I have
a friend who's the same way. My friend Ernest, Ernest from flybrother.com, he calls it reckless. Yeah. I want to call it reckless abandonment. He's going to kill me. He's going to kill me for not remembering it. Reckless. I'm going to have to link you guys up, but he also has that same passion.
When it feels right, it's like, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
And you can always, and planes still fly. That's my thing. I literally looked at Doi Suthep every single day from my apartment in Chiang Mai and never went to see it. It's supposed to be the most beautiful temple that's there. I mean, I was templed out after Prague. I went to every chapel, so I was like, I'm good. And so, but this is not just the end of travel for me. If I go wherever, I want to go to Bali. My plan is to get to South Africa, and I want to do South America. I haven't done that area yet, and I want to go to Cuba. I'm looking for Asada Shakira. So if she ever gets this video,
you know what, she's gonna be out. Once she out there, she's
out there. I just love that woman. So I want to go to Cuba, and I want to participate and see just, and get my own narrative. And that's the beautiful thing about traveling is, going and seeing if what I've heard on the internet is really true.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's close this out. So for you, where do you feel that more women of color should travel? And what tools and resources have you found helpful in your journey around the world?
Okay. Everywhere. I mean, it's literally, and people were like, well, what are you going to do next? I said, I literally want to take a globe and just spin it, and wherever I put my finger is where I want to try to go. And I think when we have that kind of a mindset, there's so many groups that are out there, as you talk about resources, where you can literally say, I'm looking to travel in February if you don't want to go alone, in which I don't recommend it. I'm a solo traveler now. I'm learning how to be that, but I don't recommend it for everybody, if they're just starting out.
Some people aren't built that way.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's so many groups, particularly on Facebook. If you, if any country or area that you want to go to, that buy, sell, trade group, or if you put in that area and then digital nomad, like those are some kind of consistent theme words of groups that are there. And then the Meetup app. Really realizing that when you go to these different countries, you don't have to stop being who you are. Although you're embracing a lot of newness, it's important, in my opinion, to still, if you're a person who loves wine or wine and cheese dinners, and you enjoy, martial arts movies, look on meetup.com and see if there's a group that's doing those things, and then you'll find like-minded people from different countries, different cultures that can add some spice to the experience of something that you enjoy doing, but you can enjoy it a new way.
Yeah, I train jiu-jitsu, and that's been probably that's one of the best connectors.
See?
It was one of my favorite experiences when I trained jiu-jitsu in Santiago, Chile. And I was like the first American they had ever had the school. Like, you didn't come to Central South America with me. I'll be there a couple months. But and that's really good. Also couch surfing. Like it was so funny. My ex-girlfriend I met on couch surfing.
Shut up.
Yeah, I swear. Yeah, in Santiago. My ex-girlfriend. Yeah.
I love it. So that's the thing about, like you say, resources. Airbnb, inclusive. There's so many different things that you can do for daily rates, monthly rates, weekly rates, and negotiate your rate. So realizing it's not as expensive as most people think. Look for deals. Skyscanner is one of the most amazing tools. You can put where you're coming from and leave it blank, and literally just say, pick some dates and say on, where are we at, February, and March 15th. I think everybody on this video, go to skyscanner.com right now, pull it up another window, and put in March 15th, and just put in where you're at right now and leave it blank, and it's going to say like everywhere. And it will literally tell you where you can fly that's very cheap by country. And it, depending on where you are, like if you're in the States, it'll show you by state probably first. But if you keep on scrolling, it'll give you some insight into some different travel options that are there for you. And just being open, like I was looking at stuff like, oh, I've never seen that before. Let me see where a flight is. And asking people. Like, to me, a lot of things I wouldn't have known about. Like, I fell in love with Kuala Lumpur because
African people and not only black people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think that was one of the biggest issues of our that we have within our travel community is that black folks only want to hear from black folks, and it's definitely a narrative that we need to have. Yeah. But unfortunately, the reality is only 17% of African Americans even have passports. So it's very few.
Well, because it's that small, then I'm going to trust your word.
It's very few of us. You know, even in the professional travel blogging field, there's maybe 5 of us, maybe 5 of us who are really doing this professionally as travel bloggers. So I think more like for you as a woman, there's plenty of females out there. They may not be black, but there are a lot of women out there. A lot of women.
Ooh, that was another big thing too. So 2 major things. Going back to self-awareness, I am not a backpacker. I'm not staying in a hostel. There's certain things that I'm just not gonna do. And so I have learned, because I have traveled with people and it has ended friendships literally. So it's a matter of, what do you like? What are the things? Where do you want to eat? What is your budget? Certain things like that.
I just did a video about that.
Yeah,
I just did a video about that. Finding your travel style.
Oh my goodness.
Finding your travel style.
And if you're traveling with others, making sure.
You can't travel with broke people if you ain't that person.
Or unless you have a different kind of faith walk. So some people.
So what do you mean by a faith walk?
So, for example, for me personally, it's around like how you budget, how you spend money. And so because I am starting a business, and if you're doing this as a digital nomad, you have to have some level of faith that the customers are going to come, that the money's going to come in the mail. And so for me, I've been relying at times when that check didn't come in the mail on family and friends. And so at one point, somebody asked me, like, at what point are you going to stop doing this or relying on other people and do it yourself? And I felt like that was a very selfish question, because it assumes that people aren't, showing up for me because I've shown up for them, or just because they want to. Right. And it's like, allow people to be there for you. And that's a whole other conversation. But it was, so just because I may not have a whole bunch of money doesn't mean that I'm willing to sacrifice certain things. Right. And so that's what it's tied to, as far as knowing your budget and or knowing your level of faith of what you're willing to do. Because I'm still maybe putting myself in a certain country, maybe saying I only want to eat at certain places, but I also know that the universe will provide. So that ties into how I travel.
So somebody who's just starting their travel journey, maybe who haven't been abroad yet, what are 2 pieces of advice that you can give them?
So the first one is to just do it. So make a decision, be intentional about it, pick a place, and just decide to go. And so originally I said, like, don't go to just the traditional places that everybody goes. And of course your thought is,
that could be good.
It can still be fun. Yeah. But my thing is, just don't limit yourself to that. Still be willing to explore different things. Look up if it's a certain time of year or birthday or a celebration. See what other cultural festivals are out there and indulge in it. Have a really, really good time in their element and come to enjoy their time. You come in to really just be a participant. But
they're always welcoming. Like, I found around the world, the locals are usually welcoming of foreigners into their culture events.
Love it.
So what would the second one be?
The second one would be to plan, but don't let your planning hinder you. So there's certain things that can be avoidable. So like simple stuff like checking the weather. Like it's some things, like because of our ignorance that we wouldn't think of, like if you're going to South Africa, you can assume, oh, it's always hot. No, South Africa gets very cold. So if you're going to a country, or if you want to understand about not just the weather, but the currency exchange, realizing and paying attention months in advance. If it's gone down low, it may be a time to buy a lot of money, or being cognizant about bank fees. So really just using Google. Google's your best friend. Using YouTube channels like yours to be able to look and see where are the places that I should go this time of year, what are the things that I should consider, and not feeling like you got to go and figure it out, because a lot of things can be avoidable, and you want to minimize your stress and increase your joy. And so one of the things that I was thinking of while we were talking, and I just say every day that you're choosing not to travel is a day that you're choosing not to live.
All right, so I wanted to thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you. It's been fun.
We're both about to get on the road, so we're not going to be hanging out anymore.
At least one more time.
Well, you leaving
We'll figure it out.
We'll see. We'll see off camera who leaving and who ain't leaving. But thank you so much. And if you guys have any questions for her, go ahead and put them in the comments below. I'll link to her Facebook page and her company page, just like I did in the previous video. I'll link to her previous video that we just recorded as well. It's going to be a lot of linking going on.
All of that linking
going on. And do you have anything else to close out?
Oh, this was the best tip of all. If you meet somebody walking down the street, say hi.
If you meet somebody walking down the street,
say,
you never know. You never know. Oh man, that's true. Like,
just say hi.
Just say hey. All right. Again, as usual, leave the world better than you found it. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace.